I had this brilliant idea like seconds ago, and I said, how do we finesse Zoom? And the idea to finesse Zoom, so anybody out here listening, free hack, just keep the window open and record locally on either side, and you can have unlimited Zoom for $0.
Yeah, because essentially all we need it for is to be able to see and hear each other. That's it.
Fancy FaceTime. I'm just calling it fancy FaceTime. That's it.
No, it truly is, man. We've used Zoom a ton. We've messed around with StreamYard. That's definitely, not perfect either. I don't think any platform really is.
Yeah,
unless one wants to sponsor us, because then it's perfect.
It's perfect for my pocket.
In our podcast.
It's just, I was using the Streamlabs because I like the quality of the recording.
Yeah,
but
it's really nice.
I sat here thinking, okay, we really could just record locally because it's superior. And last episode, I had to use I don't think people noticed, 40 minutes of the recording on the internet recording, which, whatever.
I couldn't tell at all.
And then the last 20 minutes was actually me. And inexplicably, my camera cut. So, it happens to the best of us. But this show is about being transparent, so I just like to let everyone know. And then you and me can look back at the episodes and listen and watch and think, okay, good, remember that. And you know what I did is, we'll get to talking about, because this is going to be a big road trips episode, because I just finished one.
Oh, yeah.
One of the hours I got to knock out listening to our last show, and it sounded so good.
I was so happy with the way it sounded. The way it looked, I couldn't tell that replacement clips were tossed in there. And another note about that most recent episode, our most viewed episode to date. So I'm pretty excited about that. If we could just
Let's clap it up. Let's clap
Seriously,
it up. Thank you, everybody.
Not for ourselves. Yeah, for the audience, for tuning in each week, Gosh, dude. It's just so cool. Episode 14 consecutive weeks, man. It feels good.
It feels really good. It feels good to not be in the car. Let me just say, it feels so good to not be in the car. I have a little bit of a cramped space, but within about an hour and a half to 2 hours, I had all my stuff just dumped here. I'm at my dad's house, so I'm in Maine. I'm all the way back in Portland, Maine. Couldn't be happier. Got 2 good nights of sleep, which has been rare. And now I've got my setup in the desk, and you know what? Internet is holding, so the show is rolling.
It's holding up, man. Not only did you get a good couple nights sleep, because you just pulled up there to P-Town, but you also got a good nap in while you were on the road. All right. I need a little more context about this, because in the text it was, traffic was so bad that I just took a nap. And I'm like, you can't take a nap behind the wheel. What happened here?
So I didn't know you couldn't do that, and so I did that. My trip started out Wednesday super early. I got up at 5:30, left at 6, drove from Orange Beach, Alabama, up to Nashville. And I got to give a shout out to Buc-ee's. They're brilliant. So they have one, it's about 40 miles north of where I was staying, and I had to fuel up. I filled the tank. Well, the perfect distance from fueling up there to in northern Alabama, there was another Buc-ee's, 380 miles. They know, somebody got in the car, mapped it out, and said, you're going to run out of gas right here, so let's just build a Buc-ee's. And, of course, I love Buc-ee's, so that's where I went to fuel up, to eat. Since I'm doing 75 hard, I got a pulled pork sandwich, and I just scraped all the pulled pork off the bread because I'm doing no bread.
Wow. Dude,
so this was
early. Let's go.
Yeah, it was a little more expensive. I wish they could have just put pulled pork in a bowl with rice, but it's Buc-ee's, Beggars can't be choosers.
No. What can you do?
So I get to Nashville Wednesday afternoon, hung out with my man, the Fro Your Mind on Instagram, Chris. He's a Frenchman who just became an American citizen, has 50 acres of land. The guest house is a mansion. There's a stage, there's a bar with probably 200 foot of television on the wall. I mean, this place is sprawling. I took drone footage. I'm going to be working with him, producing a podcast for him in the near future. And so I'm putting together a gear list. And he's like, yeah, you're welcome anytime. He's in Franklin, just outside of Nashville. So that was my first stop. First night, slept super great over there. Got up, did my 2 workouts. left in the afternoon, and Nashville, my goal was to go straight to Massachusetts and stay at my buddy's house just outside of Boston. So that was the plan.
This is when things kind of went awry, right? You said that was the plan, but plans change, right?
That was the plan. Everything was going great. I was knocking out miles. I took like a northern route. Didn't want to go through DC or Philly or New York City. So I'm going through Virginia, and it's nighttime. It's like 10:30. Come around this bend on I-81, and everything is stopped. And I'm thinking, I wonder if this is just a late night traffic jam. I don't know. I'm next to these big 18-wheelers. I'm in the left lane, the shoulder, and it comes to a complete stop. First we were rolling, then it's a complete stop. It's dark out, and I'm sitting there, and I gotta pee bad because I'm doing 75 hard. And so, part of my road trip has been like planning out my pit stops, a bunch of rest areas, drinking water. So I fill up a water bottle with piss. I just had no choice. I didn't know to get out. I had to do it. And because I didn't
do what you gotta do.
I didn't know if we were gonna start moving. And so I did that, and then I've just got this warm water bottle, which is gross. It looks like Gatorade, but it is not Gatorade.
I've done that during our show before, to be quite frank.
I always think about the guy doing Red Zone. He never moves. He's hooked up to something so he can relieve himself.
A catheter. He has to be, right?
What dedication. I hope they pay him well.
Dude, that guy's a one-man band, man.
So I felt like that guy in the moment. Then when I realized we're not going anywhere, I saw like a cop car go by, fire truck go by, ambulance, and I'm like, this has got to be a really bad accident. So then other people get out and start walking around, and clearly nobody's moving. So I just kind of look both ways, and I go to the guardrail and kind of dump out the contents of the water bottle because I'm going to need it later if we're not moving. Get back in the car, and I see the cop go to some cars, talk to him, but I'm just like, all right, I'll just like hang here. I turn my car off. Other people have turned theirs off.
There's nothing you can do.
No, nothing I can do. I fall asleep, and it's like 11:30. I've been there for about an hour. I fall asleep, and then I woke up to the sound of like a cop maybe 2 cars down. Nobody had moved still. It was 1:30 in the morning. So I slept for like 2 hours just sitting in traffic.
What?
Yeah, I was tired. And he finally comes up to my car. He's like, hey, this is going to take an additional 3 hours at least to clean up. I'm like, damn. He's like, so here's what you should do. Just whip around the shoulder. It's a good thing I was in the left lane because I could do that. If I was stuck in the middle, nowhere I can go. And go back down the highway like a quarter mile. Turn right. Those little access roads in between different directions. He's like, and then just go down the highway, grab one of these side roads, and then you can get past the accident and keep going. So I was like, coming to kind of like asleep. And I did that. I stopped and fueled up again. And then I got to a rest stop. I made it to Pennsylvania because I was still in Virginia. And I got to like the Welcome Center. And I just was like, I got to sleep here. So I got like a 3-4 hour nap again. And then 7:30, I woke up feeling pretty good. And I went all the way from that Welcome Center in Pennsylvania to like outside of Boston. It took pretty much like 8 hours, pretty much the whole day.
Wow. Because, dude, when you're out here on these roads, you gotta improvise sometimes. You gotta, pull over, dump the contents out of the can. You gotta pull into these rest stops, and some of them are pretty sketchy. So, like, you gotta use your best judgment on which ones are like, okay, I can probably catch, a quick nap here. It'll be okay. The
best advice I can give about that is usually welcome centers that are well lit. Those are the best ones. And you can look around and see the type of cars pulled in. Like, actually, if there's a lot of 18-wheelers pulled over, I find those are generally safer because those guys really, that's what they do. They're on the road. They have a certain amount of time. They have to stop from driving. And so I feel like a little safer if there's more people versus if it's like deserted. That's where you definitely don't want to stop because you're like the only person. So I found a welcome center, and I knew I wasn't going to sleep a long, long time. And it's never like uninterrupted. It's like every hour you're kind of like aware of where you're at, and you're like, you just look around. You go, okay, still good. Okay, let me snooze. You got some kinks in the neck, got to get out and stretch. So yeah, I made it to Boston, hung out with my buddy and his wife and their kid yesterday, and then I got up here to Maine, and it was like the the last leg was an hour and 15 minutes. It was so short. You got to Kennebunk. I had to make one more pee break at the Kennebunk exit because I'm like, another 30 minutes. I don't want to push it. And now I'm here, and I just dumped all my stuff inside, and I said the first order of business is get the podcast equipment set up, and now I'm set up.
Dedication, Dave. I love it. This is why everybody needs a Dave. Tell me a little bit about the moment that you pulled into your pop's driveway, dude. Like, just that feeling of, here I am. I'm back home, mission accomplished. Here I am.
I swerved on him. Because Matt was in the driveway with the big truck, so I just pulled up in the front on the street and parked, and I walked up, and he's like, oh! He's like, who's that? Yeah, I was like, oh, this is so cool to surprise my dad. He's sitting in the porch like he always is. Yep. It was a nice day. He's looking through postcards and stuff.
Going through his postcards right in the sunroom.
So him and I are going to be going to like Allentown, Pennsylvania in a couple weeks to do a postcard show for like 2 or 3 days. And my main business now is going to be eBay heavy. The man's house is full of treasures, so we're just trying to flip them, sell them. And on top of that, looking for editing work, remote edit. I actually got a second interview with a remote editing job. I have to do an exercise, so I'll probably do that after we get done recording.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
What does all like the exercise entail for anybody that's might be doing like a similar thing?
So a lot of times, and this is pretty typical, they'll say, here's a Dropbox folder of footage. We need a sizzle reel for one of the people, I guess, that's part of the company. And they say, you make it this long, like 90 seconds to, I think it's 60 to 90 seconds. And, obviously you don't have to use all the footage. There's certain footage where you can use the audio only, or they have copyright to the footage and they don't own it. And they just want to see, in my mind, how quickly can you turn it around and what's the quality you can make. But I had to email them because I got this I was like driving. I think it was Friday. I said, hey, I still have like 16 hours of driving ahead of me. When do you need me to get this done? But since it was Friday, I'm imagining, if I'm getting this done tonight and they get it Monday, we're good. Didn't hear anything back on the email. But yeah, so I'm doing that, and then just got the feelers out, working the network. There's just so many people I've networked with here that I'm feeling very good about the responses I'm getting to have some kind of work that'll keep me here. This is going to be the hub, man. Portland, Maine's going to be the hub. Still going to keep traveling the world, but always got a place to come that's home, that's truly home.
Yeah. What kind of crossed my mind is say, the other, guys and gals that are up for this job, say they were like, oh, boom, let me get this turned around right now. Maybe it could work out to your benefit that your, sizzle reel is the last one that they see. I don't know.
That's a good point, because it'd be the freshest in their mind and the most recent to come in. I think that's definitely played in my favor. It's like being able to go second at a talent show or go on last as a stand-up comic. You've got the advantage of nobody's heard what I have to say or see yet, but they also have the advantage of like, now you got to bring it. You got to be really good. Like, as any headliner, if you're headlining, that's what the people are there for.
Yeah.
Better bring it.
It's kind of like, oftentimes we'll go backstage at like a concert venue to interview these acts, right? And you'll see all the, different media personnel, radio stations, news teams. Everyone's kind of lined up waiting for their 10, 15 minutes, right?
Right.
And this is something that I learned from my former PD, Joe Breezy, was get to the back of the line. Make sure you're in the back of the line. And I'm thinking, well, why? And the reasoning behind it was this act, this band, is about to do this dozens and dozens of times with different people over and over and over again. And at first, it can kind of be overwhelming. But if you're the last one, there's that sense of relief. Hey, this is it. Okay, let me let my hair down a little bit. We're going to be fine. This is the last one. And then you come in, energy high, and just bring it. And that's where I've been able to capture some really good stuff. And actually, next weekend, I'm going to be visiting Mission Ballroom for the first time, going backstage to chat with Louis Capaldi. This is going to be the second time I've been able to talk to him. One of the funniest guys I've ever interviewed before. A lot of like self-deprecating humor, which is right up my alley. So really looking forward to talking to him, especially after this headline broke that he might have to quit the music business because of his worsening Tourette syndrome.
Wow, I didn't hear about it was getting worse.
Yeah, see, because when I had initially spoke to him on Zoom a couple of years ago, I couldn't notice at all. And you're seeing all these recent clips on Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts and TikTok, and he's having like a really tough time even getting through any songs. And I can only imagine what it's like trying to record music, trying to sing with that kind of holding you back. And so that's going to be definitely something that I want to talk to him about. And I'm looking forward to it. And again, I'm going to try to put myself in the back of the line, you know, because I want to be that last one. So
that's smart. It's really smart. I never thought about that. Plus, you can bring a different angle and not ask all the same questions that you know everyone else has like loaded up.
Yeah, I mean, whenever you're talking to any type of musician or celebrity, and what I've learned in my experience is there's always an agenda. It's like, okay, and rightfully so. It's like, okay, what are you trying to push? What do you want to accomplish? What's your new project? What's your new album? What's your tour? Like, so there's obviously those kind of things that you want to get to. And for example, I remember going last talking with Macklemore, and I was pretty pumped to like meet him, you know? And I come in and he's a little guarded, you know, he's got his arms crossed a little bit, and you could tell he's kind of just like, yeah, you know, this kind of comes with the work, kind of comes with the territory. And I walk in and just sit down and I just shake his hand and I just start going. And the first thing that I bring up was an Instagram photo from his account of him and his daughter dressed up as Beauty and the Beast for Halloween. And that was immediate, my first thing that I brought up. And then you could see the ice slowly start to melt away, and he started to light up talking about his baby girl, and from there it was just smooth sailing, dude. It was super cool.
Well, you've developed that skill because you're just trying to be relatable, and you understand these guys all day, they talk about the industry, their songs, what's next, blah, blah, blah. Let me talk about something personal that if you posted this on your Instagram, clearly it's something you have a lot of pride in. You know, your kid, anybody loves to talk about their kids. All our friends who are married with kids, they just want to talk about their kids. So
yeah, everyone's like, come over and see the baby. Come look at the baby.
Even Ryan today, he's like, hey, you coming over? I said, well, I got to record some stuff and work out, but if they're not asleep yet, I'll be there.
I'll be there. Uncle Dave will be there. Yeah, I love that, man.
That's really a great blessing too. Just being close by. Now it's like a 20-minute drive to Ryan's house.
Yeah, man, it's just, you know, one of the things that my lady often tells me is you're so lucky to still have your childhood friends and for everybody to be in kind of one place.
Yeah.
And, you know, not that that gets lost on me, but I'm not as like observant of it as I probably should be. It's like I can go just back to Portland, Maine like you just did, and I got my best friends there. I got my family there. I got people I grew up with there, you know, so it's a special place, man, and I'm like excited and happy for you, but I'm freaking jealous at the same time because I'm trying to get back, bro.
Well, you better come back this summer for your birthday like we talked about. I mean, that would be epic.
It would be the best. It really would. But I've been looking at flights, bro, and geez, man, a lot of they're wild. And for me to get two people there, we're talking like, you know, $2,000-3,000 round trip. And I'm just like, dang. Woof, you know, it's like, yeah, I could, but that's probably not a great idea. You know, that's going to definitely set me back. But yeah, flights are just crazy expensive. And I don't know if you've noticed this, but there are like the flights that are actually into the Portland Jetport, they're so few and far between now. There's not nearly as many as there used to be. Like, I would fly back from Nashville, it'd be no problem. But flying, you know, to Maine from Colorado, it's way more difficult.
Yeah, it's a lot further because I want to say you could go direct from Nashville, but I'm not sure.
I think I have once. And surprisingly, when I went home this past summer last year to see Nick and all them, I found a direct from Denver to Portland.
No way, dude.
Yeah, and I was like, yup, absolutely, you know? And then my flight back, there was one stop in Minnesota.
Oh,
so,
hey.
you know, I tossed on the skates and, you know, zoomed around with the Ducks a little bit, hit a couple knuckle pucks, and then before you know it, I was back in Colorado.
He's a man of the people. When in Rome, do as the Romans do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But man, yeah, just the traveling, you know, like flights are so expensive. I think like airlines are trying to make up for just like all the flights and money they've missed over the, you know, during the whole pandemic stuff. And, you know, I mean, I could road trip it, but then I'm burning 2-3 of my vacation days before I even get, and then just to have to turn around. It's like, there's no way.
Yeah. You'd be like Clark Griswold. Come on, family. We're almost there. Sorry, folks. Park's closed.
Oh my God, dude. It's still the best. Still the best.
This is a great movie. Me and Matty B. He'd never seen Office Space.
Really?
Yeah, I was like, it's Mike Judge, bro. Like, this is a classic. He's like, yeah, I just never seen it. So threw it on last night. We had gone out to play some pool. There's a cool pool hall, actually, where you did a performance one time over by Buck Dancers on St. John Street.
Yep.
You know that, what was that club called?
Gosh, it had a few different names, dude. Yeah, over the years, I don't even recall.
They turned it into a billiards hall, and it's mad cool. I bet your mom and Tim have been over there.
Well, yeah, well, they have for sure. I remember coming back with them, and they had a pool tournament there. You know?
Okay, yeah. There was a tournament going on there last night, too.
They're super into their pool. It's just fascinating to me. But, hey, I mean, as you get older, you got to find the smaller things that make you happy. And if that's shooting pool, and I'm sure it's not so much even the game. It's probably just the company and the food and the camaraderie and every week. And so but they have all the different pool tables down there, and then just right around the corner, this small thing. And I remember you came in and filmed me there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I remember it. I said that was like one of the first things I filmed of you performing after, I guess, I don't know, I was done with school. Yeah, I think after I was done with college, it was one of those first things. There was a bunch of flip shades. I had that footage forever. I think that was like a Cage and Palazzo show. Yeah,
so it was, excuse me, it was Cage and Palazzo, rest in peace Cage, and myself and a couple other acts too. And I'll tell you real quick what I remember most about that night. So I remember doing my set, right? And you're there, you know, filming. I'd given out all the shades. Everybody's wearing them in the crowd, and convinced like a ton of people to pay $10 to get in, which is kind of a lot, you know?
Yeah, but the footage is all people with flip shades.
It looks so cool, man. And what I remember most about that night is the act that went on immediately after me, Tommy Kane, who used to go by Poverty.
Yeah, that's right, Poverty.
When we were in high school, he had this song on, I think it was 95.9 WRED.
Hot
called
95.9.
Yeah, and he had this song called Paradise, which is like my all-time favorite word, coincidentally. But God damn, did that track go hard, dude.
Yeah,
and I remember like, gosh, this is so cool. And I remember seeing him open up for 50 at the Civic Center.
I remember I was at that show. Yeah,
it was the coolest thing, dude. And as I'm exiting the stage, he's coming up with his DJ to like set up, and, you know, we're switching. And he goes, JR, right? And I said, yeah, dude, hey, it's, you know, super cool to meet you. You know, he was just like, dude, that was incredible up there. Great freaking work. And I remember I walked off stage. I was like, holy shit, like Poverty just told me that my set was dope. And I felt super, super cool about that, because I was like, damn, you know, when I was in high school and Paradise was blasting on the radio and he was doing shows everywhere, it was just like, dude, I want to do that. I want to be that. I want to be that known in my hometown like him. Yeah. And it was kind of like, it was, I don't want to sound stupid, but it was like, you know, ships kind of crossing. And, you know, he had dropped the name Poverty, become just Tommy Kane. And, you know, he's still doing his thing and maybe experimenting with other stuff. But I was like on my way up, man. And it was just so cool how we kind of just crossed like that. And for some weird reason, I'll always remember it.
Well, it's always great. You get props from your peers or people you look up to. And now you think, well, definitely. I'm kind of on the same level. If you just gave me respect, now I have more confidence to believe in myself even more. Wasn't he in the movie Crash?
Yeah, he was in a film. Yeah.
And that's a big time movie.
That was a big deal. Yeah. And it was, I think the part, thinking back at it now, it was Poverty, Paradise, all over the radio, playing shows everywhere. And then it was your favorite homie JR, Ready to Go, Shut Up and Party, One That I Want, playing on the queue, doing shows everywhere. So it was just like, you know, from seeing him rock the stage opening for 50 at the Civic Center to saying, I want to do that. I want to be at that level that he's at. And then to achieve that felt pretty just cool, you know?
Just summer of George.
Summer, everything's coming up, George.
That's how I'm feeling about being here. It's nice out. It's about to be summertime. I feel like my timing is perfect. 75 hard. Better. I'm going to have the beach body by me and Matt have it down. June 17, we're going to be done.
Dude.
Starting to see some results already. It's day 14.
Wow. Well, if once you get through it's definitely something that I would want to try.
Yo, I think once you get through back surgery, however you're dealing with that, like once you get through that, this is such a lifestyle change. And I think the water that you keep seeing me drink, that's the biggest change for me. Even at like day 14, I wake up thirsty. Like I need water. Your body's like, yo, we need at least a gallon. Like yesterday, I drank more than that.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Man.
Yeah. No Miller Lights, though, unfortunately.
Damn, Bob.
I know. You know? No beer. I have
no brewskis, chilling out on the, up on the roof.
That's all right. I got water. I got weather. I got, my friends. I haven't seen any of my friends yet except Matt because, he like lives right here.
Right. I mean, you will. And once you kind of you said it was June, you'll be done. You'll have the whole summer to
perfect. It's perfect timing, dude. I'm like, super good. I'm going to be in shape. And I mean, obviously no adult beverages on my birthday, but it's another birthday. I'm going to be 37. I've celebrated plenty of times. I can still have, I can't have cake either. Whatever. I'm just going to be like, I'm an older age. Anyway, moving on.
Well, that's going to be tough to do, to turn down the cake and the treats and the ice cream and in your case, the beers on your birthday, because everybody's going to want to be buying you drinks and getting you this and doing that. And you haven't been home in so long. There's going to be so much to catch up on. Hey, let's, do this. Let's grab these. And it's going to take some serious discipline. And I want to give that a shot. I think my meeting with the neurosurgeon is next month. So this is going to be my third opinion. This is where I come up with the plan of attack and actually book the actual surgery, whichever one I'm going to go through with. And hopefully there's not a long window in between, because I'd love to get it done and get on the road to recovery, being myself again. But yeah, I would totally try this with you sometime. It seems like it's super difficult.
I'd be down to do it again. This is my third time. I'm doing it mostly. It was because Matt was going to start it. I said, cool, like in solidarity, I'll do it with you. But the results you get, it's kind of selfish. I want to look good, of course. I want to feel good. Just the clarity you have is crazy.
Well, that's the whole thing, man. When you start to look better and you notice things, you're just like in your mind, you feel so much better about yourself and you're so much more outgoing and your confidence skyrockets. And so, dude, I totally get it.
It's dominoes. Like I already see the chin lines coming back. I said, okay, jawline's coming back. That's amazing. Good.
Yeah.
We're ready. And
your face looks better too.
Yes, dude. I was trying to tell you, when we started the show, I've been dealing with this rosacea, and partially I learned it's because if you expose yourself to the sun too much, it can happen, and you get it what you think is acne, but it's not acne. And there's a distinction, because if you try to treat for acne, you can actually make it worse.
Because you just dry out your face.
Because you dry it out too much, you use the wrong, like, actually witch hazel, which I use for acne, is bad for this. Yeah. And so I found this stuff, this ProCure Rosacare. I was just watching so many YouTube videos, and I said, like, these doctors are sitting there, 28 minutes, I watched the whole thing.
We're not above skin routines here on Hanging with Homie, just for the record.
Yeah, and look, if you're a guy out there and you're dealing with this is, I think, a good all-in-one treatment. This is like the daytime, twice a day, and then there's a nighttime one from, I think, Cetaphil. I'll put some links in the description because it's actually helping me. And so when you go to bed, then you put the stuff on after you've kind of washed your face, and now it's like starting to smooth out, and the redness is starting to go away. So I've learned quite a bit from YouTube and not having to spend any money on copay and go to a doctor, which is nice. So I don't know, trying to make sure. This is important. You only got like one set of skin.
Yeah, I've had that happen to me before, where you would get misdiagnosed. I remember when I was a kid, excuse me, I had eczema real bad. It was brutal, my whole body, right?
You got eczema?
Eczema? You got that eczema?
Vines, dude.
Yeah,
always.
I got that eczema. And ever since then, I've always had really sensitive skin. And I remember this one pediatric doctor was treating me for scabies. So he was having my mom put this topical ointment all over my whole body, and it would burn my skin to where I would, like, as she's like putting this on me, I'm crying because it's burning. So we go see a second, doctor and get a different opinion. He's like, "Oh my gosh, I can't, like, you've been literally just burning him for no reason. That's not what he has. This is what it is. And here's how you treat it." And then slowly over time, it went away. But being misdiagnosed, you can attempt to treat something, but then you're actually making your situation worse. And that was kind of, an extreme version of what was going on with you.
And the scabies, from what I've learned, it's pretty rare as far as the placement. And I don't actually think it's something that happens, at least on the face. Obviously, different situation if it's other spots, but
mine was just neck down, the whole body.
It's just like we have little mites on our body. It's like dust mites or whatever. You can go way down
especially those
the
of us
hole.
From Westbrook, yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to the brook.
But anyway, dude, we were talking about road trips.
Yeah, we were talking about road trips, yeah.
Yeah, your trip, success, and I wanted to share with you about a road trip that I took to Disney World, bro.
I don't think I've heard this story. All right, set the stage. When was this happening?
All right, so we're going to travel back to the mid-2000s, okay? My sister has a cheering competition down at Disney World, this NCAA cheering competition. And somehow the cheer organization rents out the park for the weekend so all the events can take place. So somehow you get these really cheap tickets. So my family was poor as poor can be, but because of this, we were all able to go.
Nice.
So it's going to be me, Alicia, my stepdad, Tim, my mom, Nick is going to come with us. Nick Levine, my best bud in high school and still one of my best buds to this day. And then a last minute addition was my cousin Danielle on my mom's side.
Okay.
So.
All in one car.
Yes. So because there's so many of us, we have to get my Nana's van. So we're all going to be putting in this
the Nana van.
The Nana van, bro. Nana van.
What kind of van was it?
Dog, I don't know. It was a Nana van.
Was it like an Astrostar, like a Eurostar, Caravan? I know my vans. That's what I learned how to drive in, the Dodge Caravan.
I don't even know, bro. It was just some sort of van, and so we all get loaded up, right? Tim says, "Well, we're gonna get bored on the road. I mean, because this is like a 20-hour something straight trip
from Maine to Florida. Yeah,
yeah, and luckily it's one route the whole way, 95, so,
bub.
Yeah, so Tim gets real creative, right?
Okay,
and he brings this little tube TV with us, and he wedges it in between the front seats. And he has this thing running off like the power of the van, where like the
cigarette outlet
part.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we bring up the PlayStation 2.
Oh my
So me
gosh.
and Nick are in the back seat playing Madden the whole trip. And
Nice.
Here's where things started to go off the rails, though. Nobody else could drive except my mom, so she's stuck behind the wheel the whole time,
Dude,
right?
Not even Tim?
No.
Oh my gosh.
No. So mom's having to drive the whole time. And let me tell you, mom was a smoker, Tim was a smoker, and my cousin Danielle was a smoker.
Dude.
So we were trapped in that car with cigarettes. Just
Bro, I would have died.
literally like can't even see where, like, it was just so bad, dude. And then we started getting annoyed with each other, and we started fighting, and we started bickering, and like things almost came to blows a few times, and mom had to like pull over and regulate everybody.
Damn.
And dude, I'll tell you what, the trip down there was rough. It was rough. But once we finally go ahead.
Well, especially knowing you got to get back in the car when the trip's over and go back.
And I was like, you know what? Another 20 plus hours of this. So I was like, I better enjoy every damn second that I'm in this park. And me and Nick did. It was so much fun, dude. And then we had to I don't even remember the drive back. I just remember the route there, how long it was and how many stops. And you got to think, you got all these different people, and everybody has to pee at like different times, so you're constantly just finding and then people, and we had this big cooler full of like lunch meats. My mom was like the lunch meats queen, her and Tim. And they had like the bread in there and the cheese and the lunch meats, and we're not pulling over for food. We're not wasting money. We got lunch meats in the back cooler. So we have to open up the cooler, and the ice is all melted. The water's spilling everywhere.
Y'all are Arby's. We have the meats. Yo.
Seriously, dude. And yeah, we had all the drinks in the cooler, and we had to, stop and get ice all the time so the food wouldn't go bad.
Do you remember, speaking of coolers, Ecto Cooler or Mondo's?
I remember both of those, absolutely.
And you would have to snap the plastic end to start drinking it?
Yeah, but then once you snap the top, you would suck in the juice from the top part because there was always some in there.
You can't waste any.
No. Yeah, dude, of course I remember those.
Yeah. Have you seen the TikToks of people breaking the Freezy Pops in half?
Yeah, what is this black magic?
I never knew that. This is my whole life. I'm like struggling to bite and cut my lip on the end, and then you can just snap them. What? I can't wait to do that this summer.
Yeah, I'd always just cut the top of it. But then you got this whole thing, and you got to constantly. But they're just another one I've been seeing is apparently there's a correct way to take off a Band-Aid without it hurting like a son of a bitch.
What? Come on, no, there isn't.
So you don't peel it down.
Right.
You grab it from the spot where you would go down, but you peel it up, and it just pops right off.
Huh.
Serious.
All right. Well, next time I get a cut.
I'm a hairy man, Dave.
Or a boo-boo.
So anytime I'd have a boo-boo, a cut, it's just like ripping duct tape and just pulling hair off. It's like that scene from 40-Year-Old Virgin. Kelly Clarkson!
Yeah, dude, exactly.
Yeah.
The patchwork. Steve Carell really did that with his real hair because he wanted to give real reactions.
It's incredible.
What
incredible.
A guy. I'm not hairy like that.
Yeah, I'm a hairy man, dude. I wish I could take some of it off me and put it onto my head so I can hold on to this hair as long as I can. I'll tell you that.
George the Animal Steel. Hairy?
Pretty much.
Who else are some hairy wrestlers?
Dude, you remember Albert?
Yeah,
Prince
I remember
Albert?
Albert, yeah.
Bro.
You know,
they used to
that
bring
guy?
signs. Go ahead.
He's from Rhode Island.
Yeah.
He like teaches wrestling school. His Matt something, right? That's his name?
Yeah, Bloom.
Yeah, he was supposed to be in the cookbook, but we just
What?
couldn't coordinate a schedule with him. I was so excited. I thought I was going to get to meet him. It just didn't work out. Just, because wrestling schedule is crazy.
Yeah. Well, dude, they used to bring signs to the shows, and when he would be out there for a match, they'd hold up the sign. It would say, "Shave your back." Why he didn't have some sort of deal with like Gillette, I could not tell you why, dude. That was a hairy man right there.
I just to let it just grow, because probably it's annoying. Okay, first of all, someone else has definitely got to shave your back. You couldn't, I don't think, accomplish that on your own without really cutting yourself a lot.
Well, it's tough. I got it really bad on the front, not so much on the back. But
You're
when
like
you
Austin Powers.
Yeah, when you have the sweater, front,
dude.
back, and side, you're doomed. What do you do?
I don't know. You just own it. But I think you just own it, right?
I would never. I just like now. I got the Manscaped, the lawnmower, bub, and I
mow it down.
I mow it right down, But let me tell you, I used to not accept it at all because I remember trying Nair.
Dude,
the stuff girls use on their legs.
Those commercials is like all women's legs. It's like, you're 12, 13. Hey, am I supposed to be watching this?
Yeah, like what? So I used that on my body. So,
bro, you had Nair all over.
Let me break this down for you, Dave.
Jeez, how old were you?
I was, I don't know, probably like 19, 20 years old. And I'm rubbing this Nair all over my body, right? And I'm like, gosh, it smells so bad. Think of the worst smell ever. And then imagine that smell hot.
Okay.
It was so bad. And it was like chemicals, just nasty. And I have this all on my body. And you got to just like stand there. And you got to let it like do its thing. So I'm standing there like Scarecrow. Yeah, from Wizard of Oz. And you can feel it. And it's like your whole body is tingling. And then it's time to like wipe it off. So you got to take I think it comes with this like mitt for your hand. I'm not making this up. So you literally just start rubbing it off and the hair just starts coming off, right?
Whoa.
But then certain parts it wouldn't. So I'm left with this like patchwork of random little patches of hair that were just stubborn, that wouldn't come out. So I'd have to shave those off. But then I remember I was supposed to like meet up with this girl that night. This was the purpose of the Nair, because I didn't want to.
Right, I don't want to look stupid with my shirt off.
Hey, let me get this hair off. And she was really kind about it. Didn't say anything, but I smelled so fucking bad, bro. There was no way she was gonna hook up with me, kiss me, be near me.
Oh no.
I stunk so bad. Let me tell you how bad it was. When I went to bed alone that night, I couldn't sleep because the smell kept me up. That's how strong it was, dog.
You weren't alone. You had the Nair smell to keep you company.
Oh, man.
I mean, it sounds like she was, as we would say at Shepard's High School dances, leaving room for the Lord. They put a ruler between you. She's like,
Yeah, man.
Bro, I didn't know I was going to get this awesome story about Nair on this show. You are full of awesome stories today.
I'm full of something, brother. You brought up the leave some room for the Lord.
Yeah.
Do you remember the whole thing about the Gorham grind?
Do you
remember me telling you about this?
Q. Yeah, but retell it because I'm a little fuzzy on the details.
So I'm working in radio at the Q and I'm starting to DJ all these schools, and I'm like, wow, this is great. I'm getting name recognition from being on the air. So I'm getting to charge a bit more for these schools. Right. And that's how I was really supporting myself. I was DJing all these different schools. You name it, I was there.
And then we were doing extra gigs just to make some cash because, look, the Q didn't keep the lights on. The Q was just trying to get your foot in the door in the industry.
Yeah. You got to pay your dues, and that was part of it. So I go into DJ Gorham High School's, I think it was a homecoming or a winter carnival, something like that. And I'm playing Nicki Minaj Starships.
Great
upbeat,
song. Love that
125 song. Beats per minute, upbeat, party banger, pop EDM. And then all of a sudden, a bunch of students just start walking out the door. And I'm like, what? Like, this is like a dope song. Like, people love this song. We play it on the air all the time. A bunch of people are dancing. Come to find out, they had a set time where they were staging a walkout.
Oh. And obviously you didn't know about it.
Well, no, of course not. So I was taking it personally. Like, damn, like, that's disrespectful. Like, I'm doing a great job here. But it had nothing to do with me. Yeah, it had nothing to do with me. So they just start leaving. And apparently it was because the teachers and faculty were going around with a yardstick with a Mickey Mouse hand on the end of it. Whoo! And just leave some room for the Lord.
Dude.
Right?
And it's not a Catholic school. It's a public school.
No
Bringing
grinding.
God into the situation. Yeah. That's what that means. Yeah.
Yep. So it was, you got to stay apart. No dirty dancing was a word they used too. No, they're like, don't play stuff that's going to make them, grind.
Have
I'm like,
you listened to the radio?
I was like,
Teachers,
I'm going to keep it upbeat the whole time. I got Pitbull, I got Nicki, I got Flo Rida, I got Katy Perry.
It's fast moving.
Exactly.
No slow jams, which is so unfortunate.
No, it's like, I'm not going to drop Pony because some girl's going to get pregnant. Like, no, we're not going to do that.
But even, I even remember in like the middle school dances, you'd like put your arms out and kind of be like, you'd be apart anyway because you don't really know what you're doing, or you'd be like there. You're like, okay, hopefully that's okay.
Yeah. But dude, they all walked out. And the next night I was on the air and I was super mad about it. And I was like, can somebody tell me why this happened? What was this walkout actually about? And in my 10 years almost that I've worked in broadcasting, my phones were never more on fire than that night.
Wow.
I must have got a phone call from every student, a bunch of parents as well that were tuned in. So there was two sides to the story. Okay. These students were like, they were trying to, we have rights to...
They took her down.
We have rights to grind, and then the parents are like, no, like, you gotta leave room, and you don't want to make bad decisions, and this and that. What ended up being worse is that when they left, they all went out to this like parking lot party and probably all got tanked, Yeah. And then that turned into, they started getting calls about it on the Q morning show the next morning. So there was carryover from my night show. So wow. they all call me, JR, what's going on? What happened? Why is this a thing? And randomly, there's an actual coffee shop in Gorham, Maine called the Gorham Grind. So they're getting just a ton of free press because we had used the hashtag on Twitter, #Gorham Grind. So they're getting a ton of free press over this. I'm sure they're slanging coffees at a record number. And I crap you not, the next night I go back into work and the local news team shows up.
Wow.
I think it was for like Channel 2 News, right? Whatever it is back in Maine. I don't really recall. But they show up. They're like, hey, can we, talk to you about this? And I go, well, this is perfect timing because I have part of this like senior student body in the studio with me already talking about it live on the air. I brought them in. I brought in the like class president, the class treasurer, the prom committee. I'm like, they took away our rights. So I'm going to let them have a voice, right? Because I'm for the people. And parents are calling like, how could you have them on? Like, you're being a bad. I'm like, I'm not telling them what to do either side of the fence. I'm just letting them say what they want. News team shows up. So as they're interviewing this one guy over here, I'm going live on the air. I'm talking with the other ones and we're fielding phone calls. And it was this huge thing locally within Gorham, Maine. But yeah, a bunch of those students were like, thank you, JR, for giving us the platform to be able to do this. And I've always felt like I'm here for the people, like I'm not here for the suits, you know? So
Right.
it was just a really cool experience, and probably, you know, one of the definitely early highlights of my broadcasting career, the Gorham Grind.
What a great story. And you know, to your credit, you gave him a voice. You were probably thinking, if I was one of those students, I would want to have my rights at the school, not impeded on. Like, you know, we all grinded it at school dances. That's just what you do.
Yeah.
We didn't, but it, you know, it was in a gym. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you and I went on to, you know, DJ for 1,000 students at Thornton Academy a couple of times. Some other really big schools too: Bonnie Eagle, Wyndham, Westbrook, like
Even
a lot of Class A schools.
Brunswick when you crowd surfed.
Shout out to what was it? Class of 17, I think it was.
Yeah.
16, 17, somewhere around that, bro. They were party animals. They were calling out all of our spots because we had been posting vlogs each week of the prom tour.
They were watching.
And they knew. They're like, hey, you know, when are you going to use the confetti cannons? When are you going to crowd surf? When are you busting up the street there? And it was just like some of the coolest stuff. So we went on to do all that, but I was never, ever invited back to DJ at Gorham High School again.
Yeah, well, you're like, hey, I'm just exposing the truth here.
Yep.
You don't have to like it. I'm just not picking sides.
But not only was I not ever invited back to DJ any school dances, it was because all school dances were now canceled, like for good, for the rest of the school year at least. So
at Gorham.
Yeah, this was literally like Footloose.
I feel like it made national news at one point.
It did. Yeah, it was on Up Rocks.
Wow.
I remember seeing an article there.
Movie.
Yeah, and that's what they were saying is like this turned into Footloose, and now they're not allowed to have dances. So suddenly, after homecoming, that, you know, they weren't allowed to have prom. They took away prom from the students, if I recall correctly. So they all start calling my show and tweeting me and all this stuff, and it all starts to like bubble back and come back, and they're taking away dances from us, and I'm just like, golly, bro, it was crazy.
So ultimately, what happened? Did they take the prom away from them?
Yeah,
is that
if I remember
still
correctly,
the case, or is it just that class? I gotta think it's changed.
Well, again, this was years ago, right? This was
6-7 years ago.
Yeah, so, dude, this was right when I took over the night show myself. So this must have been like 2015, 2016, and yeah, it was, man.
The Gorham Grind.
Yeah,
Once
I'm
upon
trying
a
to
time.
think. Yeah, if I remember correctly, the next school year came around, and I don't know if they had a homecoming that year.
It's kind of messed up.
I think like the faculty and like the student, you know, not the student body, but the like, what's the word I'm looking for here? The board, whatever. I don't know.
Parent teachers. And,
yes.
Yeah.
It was, no, we're not giving them dances.
Wow, that's messed up.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Let them live.
Yeah.
Take
it's like they could be doing so much worse, and that was one of the things that I brought up. I'm like, they could literally be like ditching homecoming early, which a lot of students that are too cool tend to do. It's my job to keep them there as long as I can. And they'll go to house parties, and parents are out of town for the weekend, and a lot of bad stuff probably goes on. A lot of regrettable things. It's like, this is a safe environment for them.
That's one of the things in Maine. Like the first time most of us drink is you just roll a keg into the woods, like the Bob Marley bit. Kegger in the woods, like middle of the woods. You don't know where
everyone's going.
Just tap her up, buddy.
Tap it up, Bob.
That's what happens. Like, I'm not advocating it. I'm just pointing out what happened when I was in high school and when you were in high school. That's what would happen. You know, you'd leave the dance early, or I remember my senior year. Like after prom, there was like a party at somebody's house way out in Sebago. You drive out there, and my dad was cool about rules. He would say, you know, if you're going to go somewhere and you're going to drink, he's like, I'm not going to stop you. Just don't drive anywhere. Just make sure you have a place to stay. I said, all right, that's fair.
Or just call me up.
Yeah, just tell me. Yeah, just let me know. Which I think that's good advice, to not try to stop, because it's also like reverse psychology. Then you think, well, maybe I don't actually want to drink.
Because the more, if your dad was like, Dave, don't do this, don't you dare, don't you think of, you're like, oh
I'm
yeah,
doing
watch
it.
this.
First thing I'm gonna do.
Crotch chop. Yeah. You know what I'll tell you, man? All the proms I've done, the last prom tour I did was in 2021 with my buddy DJ Aaron Trailer. Had excellent chemistry with him. Excellent chemistry with my buddy DJ Ross as well back in Maine. And the best compliment you can get as like a high school prom, winter carnival, homecoming DJ, which is what I specialized in for so many years, almost a decade, yeah. It was whenever the faculty and the, teachers and whoever was there to like chaperone the event, I'm gonna run that party like a chaperone. Yeah.
Isn't that a movie with Triple H, The Chaperone?
Yeah, but it's a punchline from Hazard too.
Yeah. Shout out to Haz.
They would come up to me and say several times, this is the longest our students have ever stayed at a school dance since I've worked here.
No way. That's a great compliment.
Yeah, so it's like you're keeping them entertained and you're up on the trends and you bring this stellar light show and you're bringing the confetti cannons and the CO2 cannons and it's like it's a full production, the lasers and the great music and the MC work and you're hyping everybody up, and for them to say this is the longest that they've ever, like, we'd have packed houses at the end. One more song. It's like, all right, here we go. Boom. You got to give it to them, right? So part of me misses that. The part that I don't miss is lugging around all the gear.
Don't miss that.
The big speakers, the light truss, the lights, the
truss. Dude, I could do anything but the lighting truss. Trash. I never want to set one of those up again.
We keep that real simple now. We still use the truss, but smaller functions. It's just 2 gig bars, which have all the lights you need on them. So it's what I learned moving to Nashville as a DJ was it wasn't about how big is your setup. It was more so about, a minimalistic imprint, right? But a maximum output. So that's when I transitioned from the big 18-inch sub and the 2 big tops to the Evolve 50s line array speakers, which are 1,000 watts a piece, and they do more than their work.
Those speakers are sick, dude. I love those.
And then you just do front facade, and then you do the gig bar behind you, and literally you can rock any gig. So
there you go. That's the formula right there. Anybody listening that wants to do it, you just listed all the gear you need.
It's really simple now. But that last prom tour, we went all out. We did the big 10-foot light truss with the motion drape, LED drape facade in the front. We did the big lasers and circus lights and the strobes, and then we put the gig bars over the truss. We had the geysers on bottom. We had, I think we had 6 or 8 Evolve 50 speakers, plus the big 18-inch sub, plus we had the 2 speakers you can see behind me as monitors for us that would also double for announcements down the way so you could hear the music everywhere. But, dude, we were pushing like 8,000 watts of sound. I had to keep going outside and taking off my glasses and just like squinting my eyes and covering my ears because it was just so loud.
That's how you go ham, folks. That's how you do it right there.
I started bringing earplugs to the gigs because like I needed them, But yeah, dude, that was the last prom tour I did. I think I still have all the footage too. So maybe we can toss some of that over this while we're kind of talking about it. But I remember
Would you do it again?
Would I do it again?
Would you do like a limited time only prom tour?
I would bring back the Shut Up and Party prom tour if it meant that I could host the event.
Got it.
If it meant I didn't have to get there early and make the big drive and set up all the gear and be in charge of all the music, because that's a tasking thing. Like playing for high schools, you got to really be ahead of the curve, because think about when we were that age, we were on top of everything. We could see the next wave coming before the next one even showed up. Yeah. So you gotta stay super connected. But if I could just show up with a microphone and just MC the event, announce the prom king and queen, and shout out, this football team for their undefeated season, and
you
get everybody hyped up.
DJ Khaled.
Exactly. But do it well and get everybody just to that next tier.
Yeah.
And that's when I would do it. But my days of lugging around gear, fortunately, are behind me, because in Nashville, it was still a necessity to keep my neck above water. But I've worked so hard and I've progressed further that I'm at a point now where I'm not forced to do those events. I'm making my living talking. So I'm very blessed for that.
Just with the mic. It's the man with the mic, dude. Dude, great stories.
I got stories for days, brother. Yeah.
It's good to be back. Like, I feel like I'm still in the rhythm. The one constant this year for me has been the podcast. Everything else, it seems like, has been changing around. So I'm glad to have that. I think everybody in life, you need a constant something going on.
I didn't expect for us to start talking about the Gorham grind. I didn't expect for us to start talking about prom tours or any of that, bro. But that's the cool thing about when we sit down and have these talks, is you'll bring up one thing and then it opens up my mind to this whole other world. And then I'll mention this one thing and you're like, I haven't thought about this in ages.
That's how we do it, man.
Yeah. Well, I think with that said, I think we're going to put a bow on this one, as they say in the biz. For Dave, I'm JR. This has been Hanging with Homie. Please like, comment, and subscribe. It helps us out tremendously. We'll catch you next week. And remember, most importantly, it's cool to be you. Peace.